Hello, devoted fans of Days of Our Lives. Welcome back to another electrifying installment from your trusted source, TV Days Drama Digest. Today, we're diving headfirst into the stormy seas of Salem, where emotions run high, loyalties are tested, and the courtroom becomes a battleground for truth, justice, and heartbreak. The question on everyone's lips: are we officially saying goodbye to Kristen DiMera? Buckle up as we unravel the dramatic twists and turns of Kristen's trial, a spectacle that has left the residents of Salem and viewers like you reeling with shock, betrayal, and raw emotion. The trial that shook Salem. The hallowed halls of the Salem courthouse were packed to the brim, the air thick with anticipation and tension. Every seat was filled, every whisper amplified, as the townsfolk gathered to witness the trial of Kristen DiMera, a woman whose name alone sparks equal parts fear and fascination. The stakes couldn't be higher. Kristen, once a master manipulator cloaked in charm, stood accused of a crime that had torn families apart and left scars on the very soul of Salem. The shooting that rocked the town, a moment of chaos and violence, had led to this pivotal day, where justice would either prevail or falter. As the gavel struck, signaling the start of the proceedings, all eyes turned to Kristen, standing resolute yet visibly worn. Her signature poise was there, but cracks in her armor hinted at the weight of her choices. The prosecution painted a damning picture. Kristen, they argued, was a woman driven by selfish desires, her actions a calculated assault on the peace of Salem. The defense, however, countered with a portrait of a mother desperate to protect her daughter, Rachel, claiming her confession was an act of redemption, not guilt. Johnny's heartfelt testimony. The first bombshell came from Johnny DiMera, Kristen's nephew, whose testimony set the tone for the emotional roller coaster to come. Johnny, with his boyish charm now shadowed by disillusionment, took the stand with a heavy heart. His words cut through the courtroom like a knife. "I'm disappointed in my aunt. She let me take the fall for something she did. I trusted her, and she betrayed that trust." The room fell silent, the weight of his betrayal palpable. Johnny's voice trembled as he recounted the pain of being scapegoated, his reputation tarnished by Kristen's deception. Yet, in a surprising twist, Johnny's testimony wasn't all condemnation. Despite the hurt, he showed a flicker of compassion. "I don't think she's beyond redemption," he said, his eyes meeting Kristen's across the courtroom. "I support a lighter sentence. She's family, and I know she loves Rachel." His words stirred murmurs among the spectators, a reminder of the complex bonds that tie the DiMera family together, even in the face of betrayal. Johnny's testimony was a masterclass in conflicted emotions. A young man torn between loyalty to his family and the sting of being wronged. EJ's letter, a plea for mercy. As the trial progressed, the judge introduced a letter from EJ DiMera, Kristen's brother, who was conspicuously absent from the courtroom. The letter, read aloud in the judge's steady voice, was a poignant plea for mercy, not for Kristen, but for her daughter, Rachel. EJ's words were measured yet heartfelt, painting a picture of a little girl caught in the crossfire of her mother's mistakes. "Rachel is innocent," the letter read. "She deserves a mother who can guide her, love her, and teach her right from wrong. I ask the court to consider leniency, not for Kristen's sake, but for Rachel's." The letter sent a ripple of emotion through the courtroom. Some spectators wiped away tears, while others shook their heads, unconvinced. EJ's absence only fueled speculation. Was he too ashamed to face his sister in person, or was this a strategic move to distance himself from her crimes? Regardless, his plea added another layer of complexity to the trial, forcing everyone to confront the human cost of Kristen's actions. Brady's explosive demand. Just when it seemed the trial couldn't get more intense, Brady Black stormed into the courtroom, his presence like a thunderclap. The room buzzed with anticipation as he demanded to address the judge. Brady, with fire in his eyes and a voice thick with anger, didn't hold back. "Kristen DiMera is a danger to everyone around her," he declared, his words dripping with conviction. Time and time again, she's proven herself to be violent, manipulative, and utterly selfish. She's a walking disaster, and Salem will never be safe as long as she's free. Brady's testimony was a litany of grievances, each accusation more scathing than the last. He recounted Kristen's history of chaos, her schemes, her betrayals, her relentless pursuit of power at the expense of those she claimed to love. "She's not just a threat to me or my family," he said, his voice rising. "She's a threat to this entire town. I urge the court to give her the maximum sentence allowed by law, 10 years in Statesville. Anything less would be an injustice." The courtroom erupted in gasps and whispers. Brady's words were a stark contrast to Johnny's tempered compassion and EJ's plea for leniency. For those who knew Brady and Kristen's tumultuous history, his fury was no surprise, but its intensity was staggering. The pain of their shared past, love turned to betrayal, trust shattered by lies, hung heavy in the air. Brady's demand for justice wasn't just about the shooting, it was a reckoning for years of heartbreak. Kristen's desperate defense. As Brady's words echoed, Kristen rose to her feet, her composure cracking under the weight of his accusations. "Brady, you don't understand," she cried, her voice raw with emotion. For the first time, the courtroom saw Kristen not as the cunning villain, but as a woman grappling with her own demons. "I confessed because of Rachel," she said, her eyes pleading with the judge, the jury, anyone who would listen. "I want my daughter to know that you have to take responsibility for your actions, no matter how hard it is." Kristen's words were a revelation, a glimpse into the turmoil beneath her polished exterior. She spoke of the night of the shooting, her voice trembling as she described the chaos, the fear, the split-second decisions that led to tragedy. "I regret what happened with every fiber of my being," she said, tears streaming down her face. "If I could go back, I'd make different choices. I'd give anything to undo the pain I've caused." Her confession was raw, unfiltered, and for a moment, almost convincing. Was this the real Kristen, or just another performance from Salem's master manipulator? The courtroom was divided. Some saw sincerity in her tears, a mother desperate to redeem herself for the sake of her child. Others saw a calculated act, a last-ditch effort to sway the judge. Kristen's plea was a high-stakes gamble, and the outcome would shape not only her future, but the future of those she loved. The judge's verdict. After hours of testimony, arguments, and emotional outbursts, the judge called for order. The room fell silent, every breath held as the verdict was announced. "Kristen DiMera," the judge began, her voice steady but firm, "the maximum sentence for your crime is 10 years in Statesville Penitentiary. However, in light of your confession, your expressed remorse, and the plea for leniency on behalf of your daughter, I am sentencing you to 6 years." The gavel fell and the courtroom exploded in a cacophony of reactions. Some cheered the judge's decision, seeing it as a fair balance of justice and mercy. Others, like Brady, sat stone-faced, clearly believing 6 years was too lenient for a woman with Kristen's track record. Kristen herself stood motionless, her face a mask of resignation and relief. 6 years was a long time, but it wasn't the maximum. There was hope, however faint, that she could rebuild her life and her relationship with Rachel. The fallout. What does this mean for Salem? Kristen's 6-year sentence is a turning point for Days of Our Lives, a moment that will ripple through Salem for years to come. For Rachel, it's a devastating blow, a childhood spent visiting her mother behind bars, grappling with the stigma of Kristen's crimes. For Brady, it's a bittersweet victory. Justice has been served, but at what cost to his daughter? For Johnny and EJ, it's a reminder of the fragile bonds of family, tested by loyalty and betrayal. But the bigger question looms, will Kristen's time in Statesville change her, or will it harden her into an even more dangerous force? Kristen DiMera has never been one to fade quietly into the background. Her history is one of reinvention, of clawing her way back from the brink with cunning and determination. 6 years is a long time, but for Kristen, it might just be a chapter, not the end of her story. The emotional aftermath. As the trial concluded, Salem's residents were left to pick up the pieces. Brady, despite his fierce testimony, was seen lingering outside the courthouse, his expression a mix of anger and sorrow. Rachel, too young to fully grasp the gravity of the situation, clung to her father's hand, her innocent questions piercing the hearts of those around her. "When will Mommy come home?" she asked, her voice small but resonant. Brady had no answer, only a tight hug to offer. Johnny, meanwhile, grappled with his own conflicted feelings. His testimony had been a balancing act, condemning Kristen's actions while advocating for mercy. As he left the courthouse, he was swarmed by reporters, their questions relentless. "Do you think Kristen deserves this? Will you visit her in prison?" Johnny's silence spoke volumes, a young man torn between family loyalty and personal integrity. EJ's absence, too, became a topic of heated debate. Was his letter a genuine plea for Rachel, or a calculated move to maintain his own reputation? Rumors swirled that EJ was distancing himself from the DiMera family scandals, perhaps even planning a new chapter away from Salem. Only time will tell if EJ's loyalty to his sister endures, or if he's ready to cut ties for good. The road ahead. As Kristen is led away to begin her sentence, Salem braces for a new era. The DiMera mansion, once a hub of Kristen's schemes, feels emptier without her presence. But emptiness in Salem is often a prelude to chaos. Who will fill the void left by Kristen's absence? Will her enemies see this as an opportunity to strike, or will her allies rally to keep her legacy alive? For fans of Days of Our Lives, Kristen's trial is more than just a courtroom drama. It's a testament to the show's enduring ability to weave complex characters, raw emotion, and shocking twists into a narrative that keeps us glued to our screens. Kristen's 6-year sentence raises countless questions. Will she find redemption in prison, or will her time behind bars fuel a desire for revenge? How will Rachel grow up in the shadow of her mother's crimes? And what does this mean for the delicate balance of power in Salem? Let's talk about it. Here at TV Days Drama Digest, we're dying to hear your thoughts. Is 6 years too harsh or too lenient for Kristen? Do you believe her tears were genuine, or is this just another chapter in her book of manipulations? How do you think Rachel will cope with her mother's absence? And what's next for Brady, Johnny, and EJ as they navigate the fallout of this explosive trial? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and let's keep the conversation going. Salem is never short on drama, and we'll be here to dissect every twist and turn. We hope you enjoyed it and look forward to sharing more with you in the future. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe TV Days Drama Digest for more updates on Days of Our Lives.